Okay, welcome to the call. This is going to go over how we reward you for helping to spread the word about Clean.Tech. We've reached a milestone as a company. We now have over 100 sales teams that have joined us. And when I say sales teams, that's not an individual, that's a team. And some of these teams are doing 400 deals a month. Some are doing 1,000 deals a month. Some are doing, 30 deals a month. But these are teams that have somewhere between 5 to 100 salespeople in them. And we have 100 of those teams now. So we're actually not looking to grow more. We're looking to support the people we have more. So I think that'll excite some of you. So we've got to evolve our model on what we did. And there's a couple reasons behind that. So let me go through and I'll take questions at the end, but don't raise your hand now and stuff. As long as you guys can see my screen, let me just make sure that you guys can see my screen. If you can't, so just let me know if you guys can see my screen. I just want to make sure that there's not an issue when I don't go through this whole thing. So if somebody could just type in that you can see my screen, that would be great. Okay, great. That's all I wanted to know. So what we want to do is change what we had. What we originally did, and this is partly because my background, I've been in the direct sales network marketing industry for 30 years. I've been the president of 3 different network marketing companies. And Clean.Tech has never been structured like that. Most network marketing companies, what they do is they pay the majority of the commissions to let's just call them the uplines. And then this person who actually makes the sale makes a small amount. With us, the vast majority of the sales goes to the salesperson who actually makes the sale. But we had a small amount. It was a penny per watt up 3 tiers that we were paying out. The unintended consequence that happened with that is some folks were just kind of out there spamming their link to get folks to join. They were kind of throwing spaghetti up against the wall and not supporting them the way we want. So we looked at that as a company and said, who are we really? Well, we're really a technology company that facilitates the sale of solar. So how can we use the money, basically 5 cents a watt, and I'll show you how that breaks down. How can we use that best to scale this up? So what we did is now we're going to pay 1 cent per watt, a royalty on anybody you personally bring in. So we're still going to incentivize you to go out and recommend Clean.Tech to somebody. You'll make a penny per watt on what they do, and I'll show you how that breaks down. But we're not going to have any kind of levels or multiple pay. And one reason for that is we want to kind of get away from the whole multi-level concept. And I know, like I said, that's part of my background. And there's some things I love about that industry and a lot of things I hate about that industry. And I think we've done a lot of things that you guys will like, and I'll show you what those are. So before we had a 1 penny per watt leadership pool, now what we're going to have is 2 cents a watt that we're actually going to pay to account managers. And we're going to bring on our first account manager in Texas. He's somebody that I'll be introducing soon. He's got an incredible background. He did door-to-door sales for many years, was able to sell that company with a 7-figure exit. And then he got into solar and has built some really significant companies in solar, both on the sales side and the installation side. So he kind of knows both angles. And we're going to look for people like that. We might look to some of you in the sales force to play those roles also. Please don't contact me and say, I want to be an account manager. I want to be an account manager. We will reach out to you. If you're interested in that, you can let us know, but just know we'll call you, don't call us type of thing. I just don't want to be fielding a bunch of those calls because I don't have the bandwidth to do it. But what we'll do is those account managers will be assigned accounts of both teams and individuals, and they will be compensated by helping you to sell and succeed. So you will have on your shoulder the best of the best in sales who will earn money every time you sell a deal. So rather than having to rely on me or whoever told you about the business who may not have the skill sets, we're going to actually assign you experts that we have handpicked and trained to help you sell and succeed. And we think that's going to help our model scale a lot faster. For those of you who don't know, our goal as a company is to get to 1,000 installs a day. Now, to do that, we'll probably need, at least 100 account managers across the country. And if they're doing, if you look at the average system size, let's call it 7,500 watts, that means an account manager will make about $150 per deal. So if we have 100 account managers, that's 10 deals per account manager. That means they're making $1,500 a day by helping you succeed. So we think that's a much better model to scale. Before we had a profit sharing pool. What we're going to do now is we're going to put 2 cents per watt into training and support. And what that'll be used for is, so, if we want to do a training in Michigan and, we want to rent out a big room and provide food and make it an event, we'll have funds to do that. If we want to reward people for end of the year bonuses, we'll have funds to do that. If we want to pay trainers to go out and train in different cities, we'll have funds to do that. So we think this is going to be a model that'll scale much more effectively. It'll give you the support that you need to succeed. And some of you will grow into account managers and trainers with the company. So it's the same 5 cents that we're spending. We just think at this stage and this growth that we have right now, this is a better plan on how to do it. Now, we will honor what we had before. So on any teams that you brought in before today, May 5th, we will pay you the penny per watt down 3 levels. So we'll honor that. But going forward, it's going to be this new plan. So you guys can ask questions afterwards, but I kind of want to explain what the model is. So here's how it works. With the penny per watt, on the first $6,000 that you bring in a month off of this, you will earn 100% of the penny per watt. So if you figure it out, it's about 80 deals will give you $6,000. So if you bring in a couple teams and those teams are doing 80 deals a month, that will put $6,000 in your pocket. Now at the end here, you see something called circular wealth. And this has been kind of a model of mine that I've had for a long time, because the love-hate relationship I have with the network marketing industry is you tend to get a few folks at the top that are making a fortune, and most people can't even survive. And I've been in companies where we were paying out bonuses of $200 to $300 a month to individuals. And as a company owner, frankly, I'd rather pay 30 grand or 10 grand a month to 30 folks than 300 grand a month to one person. It creates a lot more production, a lot more vitality to the community. And there's been a bunch of studies on success and money, and most of them show that after a certain point, more money does not create more happiness. Now, that does not mean we're going to limit your income at all. You can go out and sell as much as you want. And as I think I've shared, we have folks in this company in April that, generated over 100 grand in sales commission. We have 2 folks who did that. So we're never going to cap your income at all, but on the referral royalties, we don't want that to be your focus. We want your sales to be the focus. So what we do, as you hit the next tier, which is 6 to 7 grand, you'll earn 90% of that 1 penny. So now instead of earning $75 on each deal, you'll be earning $67.50. And $7.50 is going to go into what's called circular wealth. And I'll explain how that works. I kind of want to go through the whole thing. At the next tier, it's 60%, and then 30%, and then 10%. So at the top tier here, you're keeping $7.50, it says $7.50, and you're putting $67.50 back into the pool. Now, what happens with that pool? We use that to pay folks who are getting started and making sales. I want to be really clear that no money ever goes to anybody who's not producing. But if you have a new person who's getting started and they make their first sale and they get a $500 bonus, and it says, hey, this came from Tyler Gregerson because he contributed to circular wealth. He believes in your leadership and success. And they're going to go, wow, Tyler's that guy on stage that did such an incredible job that I have so much respect for. And they're going to feel like $1 million because they're going to feel seen. They're going to feel recognized. They're going to feel honored. And there's an old saying that says people will work for a living, but they will die for recognition and appreciation of who they are as a human being. So in the companies that I've worked with in the past, what always happened at the big events is you'd have folks on stage going, look, I just bought a new yacht or I bought a new Lamborghini, and it was about consumption, consumption, consumption. What we want to do in Clean.Tech is create a culture that's about contribution, contribution, contribution. And that does not mean that you can't create massive abundance. We will definitely have folks making, more than $1 million a year with us. But what we want is our community to be about contribution. So when we have our events, what excites me is the concept of having somebody get up on stage and go, you know what? I have a phenomenal lifestyle because of Clean.Tech, and we have all the abundance we need. But what really excites me is every month I'm able to contribute back 60 grand a month to Circular Wealth. And I know that's going to other salespeople who are just getting started, and we're building a global network that can bring solutions across the planet. And that's what really juices me. That's what gets me excited. Now, to kind of explain, now there's going to be qualifiers, and these qualifiers apply both to the future and to the past. So if you have the 1 penny per 3 tier on the same thing, you're going to have a qualifier to get that. The first one is if the person or team you refer does not make a sale in the first 90 days, royalties are canceled. This is going to start from May 5th onward. So you've got 3 months to bring in all the folks that you've brought into Clean.Tech to help them make a sale, and you'll earn long-term royalties on them. Our feeling is that if you bring somebody on and you don't help them make a sale in the first 90 days, you didn't really bring them on. You just kind of threw them up against the wall like spaghetti to see if they stuck. So you're going to have to work with them, help them make their first sale, and then you can make long-term royalties off that relationship. We don't want people just throwing spaghetti up against the wall. The second thing is royalties require 1 solar sale every 3 months. So if you aren't doing a sale every 3 months, if you don't qualify for that month, that 1 penny is going to roll up to the first qualified person. What that will do is if you are making sales and you have a bunch of folks in your team and some of them aren't making sales, those 1 penny per watts will roll up to you. We want to reward the producers. We want to reward the people who are actually making sales. And that's what Clean.Tech is about. And the last one, no more than $2,000 per month can come from any one person or company. What that means is if you sign up one company and they're doing, 400 deals a month, and that's the only company you ever sign up, the most you can make is 2 grand a month from that relationship. So if you want to make 10 grand a month from your referrals, you have to have at least 5 teams that you bring on. I'm sure there'll be some questions. I want to end with just kind of a philosophy thing. I always like to look at natural ecosystems and how they work. Most companies, the way they work is the money evaporates up from the bottom. It goes up to the, I went backwards. It goes up to the top and it condenses up at the top. And that's where they stop. And it kind of like if you looked at a natural ecosystem, it'd be like the clouds going, all right, thank you for giving me all that water. Now I'm just going to keep it. I'm never going to rain back down. And the whole system of nature would break down with that model, because what has to happen is then the rains release their abundance, then it evaporates back up, and then it releases back, and you create this circular wealth. So what we do is we make it rain. We create precipitation back down. So as you reach your abundance and you have abundant overflow, you send some of that back down so that other people can get a taste of that rain. So that's kind of a simple way to think of it. Another way is if you look at a rainforest or a redwood forest, the biggest trees in those forests actually send nutrients and water through the mycelial network to support the smaller trees. That's the concept that we have here. And I think it's going to allow us to create the most dynamic, diversified, global distributed sales system that's ever been created. So I hope you like the concept. I want to share just one quote that happened today. It was funny because I was putting this together and I was thinking about it, and I got this message in my LinkedIn, and he said, "Rob, I listened to your podcast on Suncast last night, and I was so inspired by your concept of circular wealth that I could not sleep till 5 a.m. I can't remember that ever happening. I'm now fully committed to help Clean.Tech scale across the globe." And this is a world-class guy that we'll be introducing most likely soon. He's going to be one of our lead gen sources. And just so you guys know, we're planning to have multiple lead gen sources that will provide leads to you. And the model that we want to do is have a small amount that you pay up front. So you buy the lead for a small amount, but if it installs, we'll pay the lead companies more based on success. So they have a vested interest in our success. And we always want to create win-win models like that. So that's basically what I wanted to share. I will go and look and see what questions we have and answer whatever questions you might have. Okay, you guys see it fine. I don't see any questions yet. I'm glad you guys can see my screen. So just go in. If you have a question, go ahead and type that in. Count me in on the online lead gen, especially in Spanish. I'm an expert. Great. That's what we want is, to find those of you who are experts to create leads for us. And you can make money doing that. We want you to create leads and have abundance. And we know that if we can create the right lead gen sources that are good for you and good for the company, and we'll test them out, and if you end up being the best one, you'll get more and more folks who want your leads. Can I go back over the manager overrides? Sure. Let's go back. So this is just the referral royalties. I'm not going to go over the account manager overrides. That's just to be shared with the account managers, if that's what you were asking, David. This is just the 1 penny per watt. So if anybody has a question on this, I'm happy to answer it. Simon, I look forward to be here many years to come. Love this company and concept. I appreciate that, Simon. Can you still set an override on the new reps we bring in? Correct. You will have the 1 penny per watt on the reps you bring in. It just won't go on multiple levels anymore. So you'll make the penny per watt on any person you personally bring in. And then we will be assigning account managers to those people as they come on to train them how to get started. If you have time to talk tomorrow, that would be great. Okay, Tom, if you, I hate to be rude, but my schedule is so tight. It's really hard when somebody says, if we can talk tomorrow, great. If you can send me a message to my email, what it's about. And, so I kind of have to triage a little bit. And I don't mean to be a jerk with that, but I just have to be careful of my time because I have so many people saying, can I have a half hour? Can I have an hour? And then my day is gone. So, Tom, if you can tell me what it's about, you can send an email to robert@clean.tech, and I'm happy to look at it. Thank you for the invite. Just getting started. Great to have you with us, Joseph. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm not going to go over the compensation for trainers now. That's a separate conversation that we have when we bring you on as an account manager or as a trainer. So this is just explaining how the 1 penny per watt works. Kurt says, look forward to crushing it with Clean.Tech. I hope you guys like this concept or understand this concept. It's something I've just seen it for 30 years where the distribution of wealth, and I'm a capitalist, believe me, I'm not a socialist by any stretch of the world. I only want to pay people who are working and producing, but I find if you can give somebody a little bit of a hand up at the beginning when they're trying to just get started, whether it's a $300 bonus or something. I read a statistic that the majority of bankruptcies could be prevented with an extra $300 a month. So if we can show somebody how they can bring a couple teams on and make it consistent, $300 to $600 a month that they know is coming in every month, and that gives them the courage to go out and sell more and, build up. A lot of times, and I'll just share with you, when I first got started in direct sales, I was terrible. I've stuttered ever since I was a little kid. I had no confidence. It took me 6 months to recruit my first person. 6 months. I was working full time. I was in the office every day. I was running ads. I didn't sign up one person for 6 months. My sponsor quit because she was just like, okay, this guy's never going to do anything. So she quit the company. I ended up becoming one of the top 10 folks in that company. The person I rolled up to made millions of dollars off the production that I created and my team. So a lot of times it's not the fastest person that's going to do it. It's the one who sticks with it. And I think if we can give a little incentive to help people make it over that edge, we can really create something that the rest of the industry looks at and go, they did something right there. And that's what I personally want to be a part of. Let's see what other questions we have. Great model. With the new model, and account managers with Clean.Tech have a customer facing website. Yeah, we'll create more of that. We kind of want your teams though to be able to, we want you and your teams to be the heroes. We don't want Clean.Tech to be the hero. We're trying to lift you up like we're the Intel inside. So we want you to create those, and we'll create some templates that you can match it off. But Tyler, we want Sunlight Viral to be the company that folks see. So we'll work on that, but our focus is really to shine our light on you and create the success for you. And Tyler, I'm glad you like the model. Could you please repeat your email? Robert@Clean.Tech. Can we still add an additional override to our baseline? Oh, yeah. So I'm sorry, I misunderstood your question there. So if you have a company, you can add your baseline to whatever amount you want. So what we do is companies come in and they add a baseline because they have expenses. They might be providing leads, they might be providing offices, they might be providing all kinds of value to their sales reps. So if you're a company with us, you're able to add your own baseline and you make that margin off anybody who's in your company. That's absolutely still part of the business. I apologize if I didn't make that clear. What will the account managers be training on? On sales, solar, helping to close, how to do online training. They're basically going to be the support system that, I basically can't do it, and I don't have the bandwidth and stuff. So we want to have, like I said, eventually 100 of these account managers that as soon as a new person comes on, they're assigned an account manager, they feel supported and they feel trained. And what's good for you is you might not be a solar expert. You might not be a sales expert right now. And we're going to assign you somebody who is, and they're going to help support you and train you. And they're incentivized to do that because every time you close a deal, they get $150 override. So there's a strong incentive for them to coach you. And what this does too, this is really important to understand, is it cross-pollinates all of the different teams. Because you might have, Tyler, I'll just use his name again, and he's the owner of Sunlight Viral, and he's got an incredible company in business. And there might be somebody who just joined another company that would normally be a competitive company, but that company might not have the leadership or support yet. So we might look at it and go, you know what, Simon, we need, or Tyler, I'm sorry, we need you to go help this company and train them and support them. And he's going to get an override on what would normally be a competitive company if we see that that company needs more help or support. So we're going to assign account managers where we see weaknesses, where we see that there's not enough sales coming from this group. What's going on? Let's assign somebody, see if we can fix it. So it's going to become a very dynamic marketplace. And are we going to have it perfect the first month? No, it's going to take us, probably 90 days to get this completely dialed in. But we think a support model is much better than a recruiting model. And that's what we wanted to shift to. And I hope you guys see the wisdom and the value in that. Okay, Steve C likes it. Very cool. Any other questions? Love the new model. This is the reason why I joined Clean.Tech. Very cool. Andrew, I'm glad you like it. That means a lot. It's all about support and it's all about sales. And guys, we really have the opportunity to completely transform the solar industry. And I've been on the solar coaster for 15 years now. I've done this a long time. I've seen what goes wrong with companies and I've seen what can scale. And this model is designed to scale. And I know when we tell some folks that we're going to be doing 1,000 deals a day, some people kind of laugh and go, haha, that's funny. Well, if you break it down and you look at the major cities across the United States, and when I say major, I'm talking about, 1 million or more. It's really not that much. If you think about 10 sales coming from each one of those cities a day, that's 1,000 deals. Actually, I'm not sure. I think it might, I got to check it. I looked at it before and I went, God, it's really not that hard. I don't want to use the wrong numbers because I know some of you will check. But if you look at all the major markets, and let's just say there are 20 of the best states for solar, that's easy math. So 20 of the best states, if we're doing 50 deals in each state a day, which is not that hard, once we scale this thing up, that's 1,000 deals a day. Now, Solar City got to 500 deals a day. That was the highest that we've got in the United States. The most I've ever done in a company is 3,800 deals in 1 month. Solar City got up to 500 deals in a day. They had 30,000 employees when they achieved that goal. They crushed under their own weight. That's 30 employees per install per day. That's an abject failure of scale. What we've done is we've looked at this and go, okay, we're going to lean on the expertise of the local installers. We're not going to buy new trucks and wrenches and all that stuff. There are installers that have that are incredible at their job. What sometimes they're not as good at is their business model. So what we'll do is we'll provide the software, the systems, the support to make their businesses smooth and iconic and professional. And they'll do the great installs they've always done, and we'll help them make more money by doing more volume at less margin, more efficiently. That's the Clean.Tech model, and that's how we scale this thing up. And team, when we're doing even 1,000 deals a month, nobody will be able to compete with us because we will keep driving our baseline down. We will keep bringing improved models. Even when you see our new proposal that we're coming out with soon, it's going to blow you guys away. We hired a complete design team that looks at the user experience and how to make the system as seamless as possible. All of this money that we're investing is to help you become more successful. Vacations in the future, team retreats, absolutely. That is something I am so excited about doing. I've done that in the past, and it's one of the greatest things that we can go and do, like river rafting trips and epic vacations that most people would never do on their own, but we fund it through that 2 cents per watt. And if you're the ones who qualify, we create a lifestyle that most people never dreamed of. And that's what I want to be part of. Just so I understand, if my organization closes 103 deals, we make $750 a deal. Okay, again, it depends on how, okay, one thing too, just to understand, each tier is what's called protected. So always on your first 6K, you'll earn 100%. Always on the next 1,000, you'll earn 90%. Always on the next 1,000, you'll earn 60%. The next 1,000, you'll earn 30. So it's not like when you hit 133 deals, you're making 10% on all your deals. The tiers are protected. Now, I don't know what your name is. And when you guys sign in, it's a lot more fun for me if it doesn't say anonymous attendee, because I have no idea who you are. But if you have a company that you're working with and you have, you mark up a margin, let's just say you add 10 cents per watt because you're providing the value to them, then you'll earn 10 cents per watt on everybody in your company. What we're talking about is if you sign up other organizations or other companies, you get an override on them as a referral. We don't expect you to really support them a lot. We will have account managers who do that. We just want to give you a little thank you. And we think also it's important as a salesperson, because I've been in sales most of my life, it's nice to have that residual income that that each month, you're starting out at a base of $6,000 a month and you can build from that. So I hope that helps make sense. Yeah, also, absolutely. We'll have programs to give back to the community, provide solar for low income folks. That there's a lot of things we can do together. And trust me, once you're up around the 20 to 30 grand a month range, you start having a different perspective, because you're no longer looking at your personal economic interest. You're looking at, how can I contribute, and how can I add more light to this planet and this world? And that's what we want to help create the infrastructure to do. And that's what this plan is designed for. So I'm super excited about a lot of you getting up, to that 20 or 30 grand. And just know, we don't cap your income at all. I want to make that really clear. Like I said, we have folks who are already, generating 100 grand in commission a month by doing sales. Nothing will make me happier than if we have 100 folks making 100 grand a month by doing sales and just hustling out there. That is there for you. We just don't want folks focused on recruiting and sponsorship. We want them focused on support and sales. So I hope that distinction is clear to you, and I'm happy to answer any questions. Hold on, another question just came in. What you're doing is really breaking the mold, not just in the solar industry, but in the sales industry. Circular wealth is a type of structure to believe in. Responsible capitalism. That's exactly what we want to do, Andrew. And I appreciate you seeing that, because we have the ability. I feel a sacred responsibility as a steward of this model to do it, to structure it right, so we don't just get a handful of folks really wealthy. And honestly, I hope to be the #1 contributor of circular wealth. I hope to lead by example. And I want to be able to get up on stage and saying, hey, I'm recycling back over 100 grand a month into circular wealth, because that's what will make me the most excited. And I'm not about sacrifice. That's one of the key things that I want to make. I think the environmental movement makes a fundamental mistake when they make things about sacrifice. Sacrifice never inspires anybody to action. What inspires people is focusing on their highest aspiration. We are much more driven by contribution than we are by consumption. Money is a weak motivator that most companies use, but most people work for the feeling they have, the community they have, the contribution, that they feel valued, that they feel like they are adding and contributing. And we want to build that into our compensation structure, because we think it's a deeper motivation than consumption. Be nice to see a rolling coaster of teams, who the top producers are, so I can see who I'm up against, some friendly competition. Absolutely, that's a lot of the gamification aspect of this. We just haven't focused on yet, but there'll be a lot of fun stuff, guys. We'll have a top 10 for the day. We'll have a top 10 for the month, for the year. And I'm all about friendly competition. We want those of you who are top sales folks, and just know the account managers, we want them making, 200, 300, 400 grand a year by supporting these accounts. Those are going to be, we want to attract the best of the best in sales who like this model and want to help us scale it. So, we're going to have a lot of people making a lot of money, and the gamification that we'll be adding to this is going to I mean, you guys haven't seen anything yet. I'm like a kid in the candy store wishing I could show you guys all the stuff that's in development right now. But when it rolls out, like even just our new proposal tool, you guys are going to be like, oh my gosh, I thought it was great before. But, and what's fun for me is I know some teams are scrambling, some competitors are scrambling to catch up to us. And if they ever catch up, we'll be so far ahead at the next stage because we're always investing into our future. So that's what we're working on. Does this include commercial? No, commercial is a different model, and I'll explain that later. We do a split on that. I just don't want to get into that at this point, but we're not going to pay you a penny a watt on commercial because the margins there are much smaller and it just wouldn't make sense. Okay, guys, I think that was good for tonight. I really appreciate you. I love this community. I love what we're going to create together, and let's just crush it. We are just getting this thing started, and I really appreciate who you all are and the type of quality of human being that we are attracting. Thanks a lot. I'll talk to you guys soon.